Right option, the Tigers up forward, but Dean Kemp on his left boot, he looks as natural as his right boot. He had a shorter option, he chose the longer one. The lead from Cummings was very good. 45-degree angle, he'll kick from about 30 to 35 metres out.
Cummings now going for his third goal. He will be the leading goal kicker in the match if he can thread this one through from about 30 metres. It looks okay. Scott Cummings, no, a behind. 2 goals, 1.
Gee, that must have been close, because he was over congratulating Dean Kemp on the kick.
And the Tigers supporters on the back were very, very silent, Jase.
9 scoring shots to 7, and still Campbell continues to get possessions. That's his 13th. Across the full-back line to James. James goes towards the wing. Donnelly and Harrison. The bounce advantages McIntosh. Werpunda. Banfield. Now Mitchell White. A high kick. Coming streaming down the ground from fullback. James in front of Cummings has taken the mark. Gets it away to Bowden. Bowden off the right. Out towards the wing. Good mark taken by Chaffey. He's still behind the wing, so he's in his defensive half. Tigers lead 6-1 to 3-6. Chaffey to put them into their forward half of the ground. Richardson, high flyer, couldn't take the mark. Jakovic and Ben Holland. Metropolis. McKenna, always got magnificent vision. Werpunda, back to McKenna, back to Banfield, and eventually the Eagles find some space. Donnelly can hand pass over the top. Jones gets the hand pass away. Werpunda is going to have a shot for goal. He's going to kick.
A beauty.
That is a magnificent kick. An Eagles goal by Werpunda.
Well, he has been outstanding tonight, David Werpunda. One of the leading possession getters on the ground. He's had 14 touches, and this time he's run forward and kicked a goal. His work rate's been phenomenal, and this is a great finish. I mean, the long handball came into the centre corridor. He's about 40 out, and he just quickly sized up the goal, kicked it around the corner. That is a great finish. A lot of class in the West Coast Eagles lineup.
Just to bring up the benches, boys, a few changes have been made by both sides, but on the Eagles we've got Fuster, Fletcher, Rintoul, and also Andrew Williams.
Thanks, Dipper. 6-1 to 4-6. Werpunda having a huge match here. Gale getting over the top. Braun's read it well. He's had a good second quarter. Kicks to centre half forward. Big fly coming in. White's got hold of it. The fly coming in from the side from Reed. Ping, John.
Yes, certainly Ping. Prior opportunity, didn't dispose of it by kicking or handball, and that is a foolish manoeuvre.
Well, that's interesting.
It's been called to play on, so the Tigers wanted to go back.
I don't think Aaron James knew, because he put it straight back. Now Knights is in trouble. Can you tackle someone from behind the mark like that?
If the player with the free kick elects to play on Bruce, then that's his decision.
He did play on Bruce, and that's why.
Yep.
Fair enough. Ducking at Gasper. Getting a high kick to half forward, not particularly good. McIntosh takes the mark on his chest against Richardson. They're having a terrific duel. McIntosh's little gift to Werpunda in front of us about 3 or 4 minutes ago was just inspired. He's kicked to centre wing to White, cut off by Sampson, boundary throwing.
Yeah, Bruce, just to clarify that, if the player with the free kick elects to play on, then he forgoes his protected area and can be tackled from behind.
Can you anticipate the play on, or do you have to wait till the umpire signals?
Well, the umpire did call that though, Chase. As our expert Dipper called it from the boundary line.
We just looked at the bench for the Tigers, Dipper. You want to run through them for us,
I
Dipper?
certainly will. Dragozevic, Broderick, Proctor, and also Stephen McKee.
Thanks, Dipper. Centre wing here, 6-1, 4-6.
But I take your point, Chase. I think it was a bit quick.
Bull to do battle, and that's a free kick to Gale, surely. Bull disadvantaged by the bounce. He'll be disappointed because he didn't really get the fair go, but he did crunch Gale, and Gale's got it at centre wing. Oh, well, Gale wanted to play on. This is the smart stuff we were talking about. Kicked off the ground. The Eagles getting involved. Reed in the pocket. Handball back. White, good enough. He's good enough. There's a goal from nowhere. Well, you got it. Well, I better not say too much, but It's exactly what we were talking about 3 or 4 minutes ago.
And in the last 3 or 4 minutes, the Tigers have had possession down back, and they've played on 3 or 4 times in difficult situations. It was tremendous play from Morrison just to tow it off the ground. Then it became a race. The ball got tapped on. Little Philip Reid picked it up clean as a whistle, got the quick handball out. What about this for a finish? Off one step, kicked a little banana. That is just class and skill.
Also wrapped in Reid in the fact that he went down and picked the ball up. I mean, he could easily have had a bit of a hack at it, but he got down and picked it up and created that opportunity for Mitchell White, who skillfully kicked the goal. So a point the margin after Richmond led clearly early in the first quarter. A contest at half forward for the Tiger. Metropolis does it skillfully down to Jakovic. Jakovic out wide, gathered by Jones. He's had something to do in the 3 or 4 minutes that he's been on the ground, and his kick is very good. Chance here for Reid. He's deep at half forward. He kicks in towards the centre half forward position proper. Braun onto it. BOG last week. Michael Braun's kick is disappointing accuracy-wise, but on the end of it is Dean Kent.
They're a good side, aren't they?
Gee, he's played on then and not seen by the umpire because the umpire just focusing on the mark and positioning the player appropriately. But had he been aware of what Dean Kent was doing, he certainly would have called him to play on. You just can't afford to turn your back on the player with the footy.
A lot of skillful players. He's as skillful as anyone in the game. You'd expect him to run out and kick this pretty easily around the corner.
Well, summed up by a player who's kicked a lot of goals at the cricket ground, and here he goes. His kick smothered. Well done. The defenders. Funky now gathers the ball. Backed himself. Campbell goes along the line. Watch it, Wayne. You want it out? It's not. It's still not. Mainwaring shrugs the tackle. Kicks the ball forward. Punched away by Daffy. He's been pretty quiet since the early minutes of this clash. Back to Mainwaring. Kick off the ground. Daffy confronted by Reid. Tough, vigorous, no holds barred football at half forward for the Eagles.
Yeah, I think the Tigers fans think that Nick Daffy's bumped in the head here. It really didn't look it from where we're sitting. And
fair bump, John. It was right on the shoulder, mate.
Yeah, it didn't look high from here, did it?
Having a few words to say, Nick Daffy too. Just getting the listen, son, that's enough from the umpire.
We did see a lopsided statistic early in the game where the Tiger had been inside their forward 50 by something like 15-4. It's now advantaging the Eagles 28-23.
It's an amazing turnaround in a short space of time, Robbo, isn't it?
It is an indication that the scoring ability now of the Eagles, if they can get the accuracy on the scoreboard, they've certainly been forward on quite a number of occasions. Donnelly's kick under pressure is out on the full. A free kick to Richmond to be taken by Nick Daffy inside his defensive 50.
John picked it up early. He's a bit wounded, Daffy, at the moment. He's a little sore. Knight's read it well. Goes back. Not a good handball. Kellaway's under the pump. They must be cleaner than this. Matera. Well, that wasn't a great kick either. Gives White the run of it. Bowden will run it to the line. It's still in play. Bowden.
Oh, that's almost
throw. One-handed. White worrying him. But the Knights handball was the problem at half-back.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of great pressure being applied by the West Coast Eagles forwards too. Philip Matera was tremendous. He's just kept this in. Now, if that's not akin to a throw, I don't know what is.
Look, I think the umpire had a good view of it, Jason. It just seems as though they've been told to let things go.
Braun's back turn was good. Morrison to Banfield was well smothered. Terrific effort by Campbell, who's playing a wonderful game. Kicks to Dragosevic, who's just come on. Richo has to back. Back to Dragosevic. Oh, McKenna just shoves him out of the way and then drills it onto the chest of Morrison, who can kick it down the line, and he does, and finds Braun, who's having a wonderful second quarter. He spins out of a tackle and kicks it again to Jones, and Jones about 70 metres from goal. Bowden on the mark. Again, the Richardson tap on to Dragosevic was really ambitious. Better off to take it cleanly.
Oh,
poor kick.
kick.
White was in the right spot. Gasper on hands and knees. Back turn was okay. Now he's in trouble. Has to cough it up. Jones can't quite break it. Gets it to Donnelly. Donnelly kicks to the goal square. Ottens takes the mark. Still the Tigers lead. The Eagles haven't been in front all night, but they are closing quickly. 37 plays 36. Ottens in short. Campbell yet again.
Gee, even what looked to be a simple mark for Brad Ottens was made a little bit difficult by Dean Kent just because he wanted to provide a contest on the full forward line. And it's that absolute persistence of the Eagles. They go forward again. Reid tackled by Campbell, and a kick coming out of there has been marked by Cummings. It was just a scrambled opportunity that has resulted in Cummings having the opportunity to go for his third goal.
Well, luck's a fortune. Glenn Jakovic, he tried to do the old 1-2 with the handball. He wanted to give it, get it back, and then run in and have a shot from about 40 or 45. In the end, the ball got turned over, but he saw a half an opportunity just to keep the ball going forward in the West Coast Eagles direction. He towed it off the ground, and the key to playing up forward is you stand in front of your man. And if the ball drops short, as it did on that occasion, you get first crack at the mark. That's what Scotty Cummings did, and he's lining up for his third.
Going for career goal number 249, Scott Cummings. He'll kick the distance. He's a beautiful kicker to football, and I would suggest he may have the accuracy on this occasion. He has kicked his third goal, and all of a sudden, the Eagles are in front. 12 scoring shots. They lead the Tigers by 5 points.
Worrying signs for the Tigers. I think the worst thing for the Tigers is that they're messing up a lot of opportunities. The Eagles are making goals out of nothing now, and that's where you get hurt. Every time they make a goal out of nothing like that, when you've blown an opportunity at the other end, it's a 2-goal turnaround.
First time tonight, West Coast hit the front. 6-6 to 6-1. They've come back hard, absorbed the pressure early, and now they're putting huge pressure on the Tigers. Ottens, Bellotti won it, kicks the ball forward, waiting for it to bounce. Gasper held on to just momentarily, no free kick. Banfield outside 50, terrific kick.
Look at the kick.
Cummings has got it. No, he hasn't. It was a wonderful effort by Funky. James comes back, Banfield and Gasper. Well done, Gasper. Sensational mark. Funky and Gasper, in the space of about 30 seconds, did some terrific heroic stuff for the Tiger then. Campbell sits it up, Ottens, and at the back taking the mark was Holland. His handball inboard. Chaffee hasn't got a handle on it yet. Well, Matera's tackle was terrific. Knights, high ball. Matera taps it forward. Knights didn't quite, poor play really. Bellotti strolls away and then lines up Cummings with a long hard kick. Cummings can't quite take a mark, but coming in Jones, and Jones kicks another one. They're on top now.
Well, they just look like they're in real strife now, the Tigers. The Eagles are virtually scoring every single time they go forward. They're just starting to dominate. He's been very good, Jones, particularly in this quarter. He's picked up about 6 possessions. But the good kick came in from Bellotti against the advantage of Cummings. He kicked it over the back. That's where he wanted the ball. Now, he didn't get it, but look at Jones coming in and sure hands, picking it up, finishing off. I would be real worried if I was Jeff Geeshan right now.
Gee, they've fed off Knights a couple of times in the last 10 minutes when the gun's been on him.
They're just really tightening up the Eagles, and they're putting so much pressure on. What's happening is the Tigers aren't hitting their targets with their handball. That's where the turnovers are occurring.
Well, since Richmond kicked the first 4 goals, Eagles have answered beautifully. They've had 13 scoring shots for 7 goals and lead this match by 7 points.
Drop the footy.
Donnelly not penalised. Tigers get it forward, and the mark is taken by Richardson in front of McIntosh, and he's well within scoring distance. He's kicked 2.
Well, this is as important a kick as we've seen for the Tigers tonight. They had a quick kick go forward. Richo playing in front. That's a very good mark. Pretty hard to spoil when you get an athlete like that jumping as high as he possibly can and taking the ball way out in front. But he needs to finish to give the Tigers a bit of a lift here.
Well, he can bring it back to less than a goal if he can kick accurately. He strives for the extra distance, hooks it badly, scores a behind.
He's been in devastating fashion form, Matthew Richardson, but if there's been one criticism, it's just his conversion rate. It's unfortunate. It's the only thing probably stopping him from going to a Carey-like status. He's actually kicked 45-31 for the year, and that's just not the sort of ratio you want.
Under 2.5 minutes left in the half. McIntosh, short kick, finds Metropolis. Out wide he goes to Jakovic.
And half back. 7-6 to 6-2. Just pointing out to the umpire exactly where the mark is. Jakovic, they always seem unruffled, don't they, this Eagle? Their feathers never seem to get into a flap. Mainwaring's kick Gasper playing like a forward in front of White. He has done a good job on him so far. Harrison just dropped it away. Kellaway on the up. Hip and shoulder there. Chaffee gets it back to Ottens. Ottens kicks the ball back to about half forward. McKenna's got it. Playing a very good game in his 250th. Didn't want much fuss about it all. What a player he has been. Kicks the ball wide and finds Mainwaring. It'll be his turn next week for a milestone. Finds Kemp. One of 4 Eagles who have played 200. Bellotti running hard. Takes the mark inside 50. They're exposing the Tiger at the moment. And Bellotti goes to Morrison. His beauty. He just hung there on Funky and marked it.
Well, Bellotti saw Morrison running into space, but by the time he kicked the ball, it was actually a little bit too late. 1 against 2. And he's just flown over the top, and who knows, could be a contender for the Cadbury Mark of the Year, Robbo. Look at that. Flying over the top.
I mean, what Bruce said was absolutely perfect. He just put himself in the position, up early, got rid of the front one, and Ottens could do nothing because his whole body was between him and the football.
Doesn't mind flying, this fellow. He can take a big mark.
Can kick a goal too, and one here would really damage Richmond late in this first half. This has been a magnificent performance by the Eagles to half-time. Morrison, it's a good kick. It's another one. Gee, I am enjoying their footy tonight, I must admit. Love the way the Tigers started, but really respect the way the Eagles have come back here.
He's been pretty good tonight, Chad Morrison. He's had a dozen or so possessions, but this is just running into space. You've got to give yourself options up forward. That's what he's done. In the end, probably shouldn't have been kicked there. He should have gone back, Bellotti, but I tell you what, look at that for a grab.
Well, a beautiful slow-motion replay of the mark taken by Chad Morrison resulted in the West Coast Eagles getting their 8th goal. Morrison's first, close to half-time. Richmond doing well in the ruck contest, but gee, they're breaking down across the half-forward line. Nick Daffy, Matthew Richardson, back goes Mainwaring. Been impressed by the way Chris Mainwaring has stuck at it. 13, 14 possessions in the first half. Bowden on Braun, in goes Philip Matera, Glenn Jakovich, rock solid at halfback. Gaspar, just a critical fumble. Out wide, Powell running past the wing, kicks the ball to half forward. Richardson, just out of it there by McIntosh. In goes McKenna. Indiscriminate Matthew. Indiscriminate tackle on Guy McKenna results in a free kick to the West Coast Eagles captain Guy McKenna. Goes out wide, Braun. He's had about 15 possessions in the second term, Michael Braun, and that second term is now all over. It is half-time in the clash between top-of-the-ladder West Coast Eagles and 10th placed Richmond. And the Eagles have the advantage at half-time. They lead by 16 points. The West Coasters 8-6, Richmond 6-2. Scott Cummings has kicked 3 for the Eagles, 2 each to Daffy and Matthew Richardson.
Mickey Malthouse and Jeff Gushin. Well, what a difference from quarter time. But the writing was on the wall at the first break. It's 38-54 at half-time. And welcome back at half-time here. It's been a fantastic first half of footy. Some terrific shots from the Goodyear blimp in the first half of the match. But it was all the Tigers. They kicked 4 goals in the first 8 minutes, but the West Coast absorbed the pressure and came back with a spirited second quarter and kicked 6 goals to 1. And at the long break, they lead 8-6 to 6 goals 2. It's a very good round of footy. Some key matches tomorrow as far as the 8, and a couple of beauties on Sunday. Let's see what's going on.
Saturday, Carlton versus Adelaide. The Blues banded together to do it for a mate. Now do it for yourselves and make the final 8. He twists, he turns. This man is never down. Fasten your seatbelts. Jarman's coming to town. Geelong versus Collingwood. A cat's got 9 lives, and this one's lost them all in a row. At home to the bottom side, they must have a show. But these Maggies are on the move. They're better better than they seem. The last few weeks have shown there's a future for Eddie's team. Melbourne versus Sydney. A tale of two cities. They both need a win. At quarter time, Sydney looked home. Then they went into a spin. Now the D's are desperate to find some real form. Start scoring like Melbourne Demons, not like Melbourne Storm. Saturday night, Brisbane Lions versus Hawthorn. Those Lions were crying. Oh, so close. Brilliant all day, but at the post. This week it's the Hawks, but shh, make sure you don't mention Crawford the captain and all that attention. Fremantle versus St Kilda. The Saints are back in business, just like Stuart Lowe. And last year against Freo, he delivered the knockout blow. The Dockers need some magic. How about those famous skills? The ball facts are they need more men like Chrome Dome. Andrew Wills. Sunday, Port Adelaide versus Essendon. Come on, Power. This is the hour if you want that final spot. How about this round goes straight up the ground? Because this young forward is hot. This boy is smoking. I ain't joking. But hey, pal, give me a break. When he's on a roll, he can kick a goal, even by mistake. Western Bulldogs versus the Kangaroos. When there's a goal to win the game, you can bet the Roos will kick it. And if desperation's what you need, how about Byron Pickett? But the doggies mean business as up the ladder they climb. Now it's off to the G for blockbuster time.
Terrific matches, those two Sunday games, almost too close to call. So good luck with your team. The Plugger video is out, the 1300 video, $29.95. Name a game, 1800 035 665 is the number. Boy, there's a bit to talk about after the first half here. I'm looking forward to what Jason has to say. The Arts Centre here in Melbourne, and it has been a terrific first half of footy. Played really in two halves in a way, and at half-time it's the Tigers 38 and the West Coast Eagles 54. What a great shot as we look down at the Tennis Centre Melbourne Park and also the Melbourne Cricket Ground. So wonderful first half, lots of scores, lots of desperation. Time now for Friday Night Footy's half-time drill. We thought the Tigers might come out really running, and they did all of that, Jason. Boy, what an explosive start they had.
It was. The Tigers threw everything at the Eagles, and it looked like they might set up some sort of big lead at quarter time. And as we see them getting the first 4 goals of the game, they just won everything out of the middle. Nick Daffy finishing off in fantastic fashion there. That was the first, and it just seemed to get worse for the Eagles. The pressure was mounting. The kick came out from Metropolis, and they were just sensational up forward, weren't they? Look at the kick coming in from Ben Harrison. Straight to Ben Holland, and he finished with a 50-metre kick that was a tremendous goal. And all of a sudden we thought, what's going on here? We expected the Eagles to come out, but it was the Tigers.
McKenna onto Daffy was important, as it turned out, as the half progressed, because Daffy cut them early, didn't he?
Oh, he certainly did. He was everywhere. Here's a pass coming into Matthew Richardson. He is trying to run Ashley McIntosh off his feet. He finished very well there. All of a sudden it was 3 goals to nothing, and the lead was mounting. He was really trying to run them around. Daffy swooping on the loose ball, and that was after that kick. That was when McKenna went on to Daffy, and he's been unbelievable for the West Coast, Guy McKenna.
Both teams have been desperate all the way through. There's been no question about their commitment to play. We saw some terrific stuff from Daffy here.
Yeah, good spoil when McKenna looked like he would take a simple mark, and we saw players from both sides throwing themselves at the ball, absolutely going in hard. I mean, there is just no place for the faint-hearted there. The pressure was on, the heat was on, and both defences working overtime to try and clear the ball.
Saw some great play there, Wapunda and also McIntosh. I think the key to West Coast in the second quarter, they made the most of their opportunities. Almost opportunistic goals in the end, weren't they? And they just kept coming. Wapunda was involved.
And it was in stark contrast to Richmond at the other end. Wapunda had followed the ball downfield. I mean, he's playing back pocket, back flank, and to kick a goal, well, that just shows great running. Here we see Brendan Gale playing on. The handball goes astray, towed by Banfield. towed again by Morrison. Then it's a bit of a race going in. And even though Richmond get there first, Philip Reid just picks it up cleanly. Gives a good handball to Mitchell White. What about this for a finish?
Oh.
Just kicks a banana off one step. That's the sort of class finishes they have, the West Coast Eagles.
Cummings is a good full forward. He's given them something that Sumich used to give them in the early 90s, a focal point, hasn't he?
He has. Now, this is a very opportunistic, but, you know, the key to playing up forward is stand in front. The ball got towed off the ground by Jakovic, and there was Cummings. This time, he held front position, just kept them all off, and Rowan Jones ran onto it and kicked an easy goal.
Morrison provided one of the highlights of the first half, a hanging mark, wasn't it? But it was symbolic, I think, of West Coast's commitment.
Yeah, the kick came in from Bellotti, and, well, all of a sudden he's outnumbered 2-1. We thought, well, I'll take the ride here, shield the ball with my body, a spectacular mark, and more importantly, he finished it off with a goal. Just look at it from the front angle. That is a wonderful shot, isn't it?
I think it's been symbolic, this first half, of these two teams. West Coast so smart, absorbing pressure. Richmond just making some mistakes when they can least afford it.
It is. I mean, the option selection's been a little bit difficult for Richmond under pressure. They haven't always picked the right options. West Coast have.
They've had a lot more of it in the end in terms of kicks. More handballs for Richmond, but they're the Mitsubishi stats to half-time. Look at the inside 50s now.
That is a real worry, particularly when the Tigers had great dominance in that area early on.
So it's set up. Let's see if the Tigers can come back. They led by 13 at quarter time, but they trail now by 16 at half-time. Welcome back here at half-time, and the Tigers are 6-2 after getting the flying start, kicking the first 4 goals. West Coast 8-6. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that the Tigers are playing for their season in the second half. They must win tonight to have any chance at all of playing in the finals. Good crowd here. We're getting some great shots, as we said earlier, from that Goodyear blimp. Both the teams are out there, but this should be a big third quarter for both teams, because the Tigers must get the first goal, I reckon, Dipper, to have a real chance of winning this match.
Oh, absolutely, Bruce. And, you know, unfortunately, the playmakers for Richmond went down that second quarter. Daffy had a sensational first quarter, and Campbell got a few of the touches, and Richo sort of got those quick couple of goals. But there's no doubt about these Eagles side. I mean, when the playmakers like Main Waring back in a little bit of good form, and Guy McKenna on the half-back line just lay out the playmakers and just setting up some of the young fellas. The first couple of scoring shots are going to be very interesting for both sides. And the Eagles, one thing about the Eagles this year is they've been able to run away with games, but Scotty comes into sensational forms, are winning with big margins, and that's one thing the Tigers don't want them to do, is to get away with a big margin in that first 5 or 10 minutes of this third quarter.
Cummings with 3 goals. We're looking at him. Jason, in his 14 matches so far, he's kicked 4 goals or more on 11 occasions. It's a very good record in terms of consistency.
It is, and that's what they're looking for, a consistent output up forward to give them something to build a winning score around, and Scotty Cummings is doing that. He's the sort of player that doesn't need to get a lot of the ball because he's such a good kick. His conversion rate's very good, and he'll normally kick 4-1 or 4-2 if he's having 5 or 6 shots at goal.
Dipper said in the cab coming down that he believed West Coast had a real belief this year, having spent the week in Perth, and you can feel it the way they're playing. They look as if they're getting back to that early 90s. They're going to position themselves this year to have a real crack at the flag.
Is the football too defensive if you decide to play a half forward on Guy McKenna as a defender? Just man up on him and stop him getting the ball? Because his rebound, his setup of play is sensational.
Well, they've had Wapunda and McKenna doing that in the first half, haven't they? Second half, Friday night footy at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. The Tigers with a job to do. Braun getting the kick into long sleeves in the second half. It went through Andrew Kellaway. The dew will set in here. It's going to get down to about 7 degrees. White held up, and Gasper's done a good job on him in the first half of this match. He
has. Mitchell White's been one of the West Coast's best players all year, and he's certainly limited his effectiveness in the first half.
Ottens and Ball to go at it. And they're the umpires. We've talked a fair bit about them in the first half tonight. It seems that they've been given a direction this weekend. Matera, Broderick, Knights, well played. Very well played by the captain. He found some space. Bangs it hard. Richo the target. Richardson actually belted it away. Now the race is on. Dragosevic over the ball. Still Dragosevic. Little one to Knights. Well played again. To Powell. To Broderick. To Daffy. That was clean. Daffy sets it up for Holland. Jakovic is a hard man to shove out of the way. McIntosh is there. Well played at the back coming from Bellotti. Liked his game. Terrible kick. Coughs it up. Marked by Sampson, who was really turned inside out by Wapunda in the first half. Good looking kick. And that's a very good effort by Holland, diving to take the mark. This is what they needed.
Great play from Clay Sampson. So he just hung on to it, and if you had have seen the lead coming from Ben Holland, he led basically towards the kicker, then he saw space up the middle, he led there, the kick finally came in, and didn't he stretch out to make ground there?
I'm sure last week against St Kilda we saw a highlight of Ben Holland taking something like a slips catch down close to the ground where the ball was swinging and swaying in the breeze.
And it's a great sign for such a big bloke, Robbo.
Terrific stuff.
Going for his 30th goal of the season, but more importantly, going to give the Tigers some momentum in this match, and he's hooked. So Richardson missed a chance in the second quarter late. Holland misses a chance early in the third quarter. They can't afford to miss too many. It's 6-3 to 8-6.
Yes, they needed the start of the third term, something similar to how they started the match. Metropolis, who's been pretty good across the full-back and half-back line in this game so far for the Eagles, has the football. He's between full-back and centre-half-back. He goes out wide towards the wing on the Great Southern stand side. Campbell receives, then gets it back to Funky. Funky's kick towards full forward. It's punched at the front of the pack. Philip Matera. Banfield out towards the wing. The marker's taken by Reid. So the Eagles have managed to find the ability to clear the full-back line and they have possession on centre wing. Gaspar up over the top of his corresponding number 2 in Dean Kemp, and forces a boundary throw in. Dipper.
Yes, the West Coast bench, Brendan Fuster, Andrew Williams, and the 2 Chads, Fletcher and Rentoul.
Thanks, Dipper. And they're interested onlookers. They've got to be very much involved. Sitting on the bench, any opportunity that they get, they've got to have some sort of say in how this game is going. Matthew Knights is very well controlled there by Jones, it was. Mainwaring squeezes the kick to half forward. Mitchell White goes back to Banfield. Banfield, with just a little bit too much time from a Tiger point of view, goes for goal. And just in front of Andrew Callaway, it bounces to the left of the goalposts, through for a behind. Dipper with the Richmond bench.
Thanks, Robbo. Bowden, McKee, Brendan Gale and Lionel Proctor.
Gee, Bowden interesting because he started really well tonight, and so did Brendan Gale. But they'll probably run their rucks from the bench a bit here. James, he's got Kellaway out here and he's going to find him. Had a big first quarter, particularly in the centre square, Duncan Kellaway. Out wide, good kick to Dragicevic, takes the mark and then quickly plays on. Down low, Ottens couldn't control it. Ball swept on it. Braun set up a bit. Quick hands, brought to ground by Dragicevic. Donnelly and Chaffee. Boundary throw in between centre wing and half forward right for the Eagles. 8-7 to 6-3. A point apiece in this second half. Ottens and ball. There's Donnelly on screen. Ottens works to the front. It goes over the back. Broderick got rid of the tackle. Gives it to Campbell. Campbell gets around under his right kick. Probing kick to centre half forward. Belted away by Jakovic. Worth a kick. Morrison hard onto it. Runs hard and then kicks to the space. Cummings running onto it. Bouncing footy. Cummings handball. White almost going forward. Jones, can he get it back to White? Gaspar threads his way through. Good defensive stuff. Flat-footed James gets it to Powell on the burst. Powell with a bounce. Almost runs into a West Coast Eagle. Pops it up, but McKenna will eat that alive. Belts it away from Chaffee. Now Rogers at centre wing. Turns. He's normally a good kick. He finds his target. Powell's normally a good kick. This is Chaffee though. He's between centre wing and half forward. Richo the targeter. I reckon both Richo and McIntosh look a bit tired after the first half. Well, Punda belts it back. White just pushes Gaspar out of the way. Can't get a handball away. Getting back Campbell. He's had so much of it. Gets it to Kellaway. Out wide. Good kick. Finds Daffy. Needs a big second half, Daffy. Started terrifically well in the first half. Pops it up. Holland the target, couple of flyers, ball comes, Mainwaring, Jakovic, well tackled, Sampson can't quite get there, Metropolis goes to ground, ball to be won, well Punda gets it.
Oh, have a look at him go, screaming down the ground. David Wapunda, he's kicked a half foot, well done. Andrew Callaway running back, feared nothing and marked safely on his chest at half back for the Tigers. Away to Aaron James. James across the half-back line, a little too far for Ottens, tries to play it in front of himself, away from Jason Ball, unsuccessful, forces a boundary throw in.
Again an error when they had 2 on run, Dragicevic just waiting for the handball. Interesting to see Mitchell White coming off, Brendan Fuster taking his spot.
And Fuster quickly trying to shrug the Gaspar. Boundary throw in, centre wing, Banfield feigned the hand pass and then went the other way to Braun. Braun disciplined to the front of the goals. Cummings and James back to Andrew Callaway at his feet, able to get his left foot to it and force a throw in. Still within goal scoring range for the Eagles, about 35 metres from their goal.
Drew Banfield sold the dummy with that handball to about 5 players, 3 opposition and 2 teammates. Everyone ran looking for it, he still had it.
So the ruck contest in the right forward pocket for the Eagles. Richmond have had their opportunities to score a goal early in this third term. So far, their attempts have just fell short of the mark, and the umpire on this occasion will bounce. We spoke at half-time, John, about the umpires maybe letting the game flow tonight.
Yeah, it certainly looks as though they've been instructed not to pay as many free kicks as they have in the past few weeks, so be interesting to see whether that continues for the rest of the weekend, Robbo.
Eagles within about 35 metres of goal. This first goal now becoming very important the longer this game goes on. Ottens wins the tap, taken by Broderick. runs away, kicks it hard and low. Wapunda there with Sampson, and it's going to go out of play with McIntosh and Richardson well up the ground.
I know we've talked about it a lot, but David Wapunda, his speed just off the mark, even when his opponent looks to have front position, all of a sudden he's level or in front of him when the ball makes contact or impact with the contest.
When you look at his body, he's got so much power, hasn't he, through his legs and hips. Dragicevic pushes out Campbell, terrific stuff to Daffy, front spot, Richardson couldn't quite take the mark, Handball coming out to be one. Sampson was probably unlucky, he was crunched there. That's the one the umpires haven't played all night, and again a ball up. Some good stuff here.
What do you think, John, about that one?
It looked like Mainwaring was in his back, didn't it? Just fell on top of him.
Yeah, and that's the second one. You mentioned one earlier, Jace, where Matthew Knights, I think it was near the boundary line, was just sat upon, and they have to be paid if a player has clearly just jumped on.
Ottens to Campbell, slung as he kicks. There's a chance for Richo. Terrific stuff at the back by the Eagles. Rogers is a clever kick normally. He's got it. He's got the all-important first one. There's no substitute for skill, and Rogers was the right man for the moment.
You keep pushing to the front of the square like where that kick came from, with the two big fellas. If you're smart enough, where the Richmond boys were on this occasion, down there in front, they've got to get the chance to score a goal.
Yeah, exactly right. If you read the play correctly, there's only one place the ball can come when it's spoiled, and that's basically to the front of the contest. That's where Matthew Rogers went, and he finished off beautifully. Even though it's taken a while to get the first goal, the Tigers do get back in it now.
Well, certainly the Tigers coming out after the long break would have been looking for at least the first goal of the quarter and possibly the second. They've done half of that. They've got the first goal. Ruck contest back at the centre. Campbell has been sensational. He has just worked his little butt off. Matthew Knights. Sampson's been quiet, but he's going to get what Richmond looked for. The first two goals of the second half.
Well, it looks like there might be another one. The whistle has gone. Justin Schmidt has... there's a lot of whistle blowing down there, but I think the umpire has decided against paying the kick. What actually happens after this goal is kicked by Clay Sampson is Ben Holland gets bowled over by Glenn Jakovic immediately after that goal is kicked, and the umpire blew his whistle and responded to it. Ben Holland clearly knocked to the ground. Normally that would result in a free kick paid there.
And good stuff by a young player in this game. A man of stature, Glenn Jakovic, but that young fella, Ben Holland, is having nothing of this, Jason.
Stick up for yourself.
He's doing good, isn't he?
He is.
Banfield out of the centre. Crowd roar. Gee, in hard was Broderick. Be careful where you put those boots. And gee, Reed put a little knee in there too, pretty hard. There's Jakovic and the emergency umpire. Just to repeat, the Jakovic and Holland, I missed it, to be honest.
Yeah, immediately after the goal was kicked, Bruce, what happened was Jakovic actually ran straight at Ben Holland and actually just bowled him over, and the umpire blew the whistle, ran straight to the players, but for some reason didn't pay the free kick.
Well, Broderick went in with his boot a moment ago, and then Reed went in with his knee. So Campbell's been magnificent, as we've said. Front spot was Richardson, but McIntosh just held him up. He's been good, McIntosh. We talked a lot about Richo running him off his legs, but he's still going. Kicks wide to Banfield, takes the mark on his chest. The Eagles are being challenged. Banfield kicks to centre wing. Donnelly out on the full. Was it? No. Boundary throw.
Donnelly is now playing centre half forward with Mitchell White off the ground, and Gaspar, who did a good job, and he was now picking up Donnelly.
26 possessions to Campbell.
Kellaway will get a free, will he? No, the ball goes down the line. Mainwaring, terrific tackle by Chaffee. McKenna in his 250th. Bluey on the left. Kicks the ball to half forward. McKee's marked it. He started deep in defence on one of the tools in Fuster and then went to the interchange. McKee with that left foot. Kicks to centre wing. Richardson hasn't taken many marks. McIntosh is on top now. McKenna plays it so coolly. Front spot was Fuster. McKee at the back. Kellaway and Kemp. Boundary throwing.
Back where Richardson is contesting the mark, the Richmond smalls just aren't quite smart enough, are they? They're not quite up to the fact. I mean, Ashley McIntosh has got to play negative on Matthew, knock the ball to the full, and they're not there.
No, they've got to give him the support. He can't take all the marks. You can't expect him to do that.
Jones to a bit of space. Ball still in, Reeve Campbell, and a boundary thrown. But the Eagles have managed to push it forward about 40 metres here.
Just having another look at Philip Reid gathering the ball, and Campbell, well, maybe a little high, but the umpires have certainly made players earn every kick they've got tonight. And I don't think that's such a bad thing. If the free kick's there, well, maybe pay it. But this has been a good physical contest. Main Waring back away from Knights, puts it on the chest of Braun to Kemp. He was under pressure. Back to Main Waring, uses the ball normally, kicks into the pocket, and a long way away from Donnelly, over on the full. So Chris Main Waring, no, is it a free kick? It is, I think, back there in that right back pocket. The field umpire giving it back to Gaspar.
Oh, that's a dangerous play on.
Powell, the little kick to a one-on-one right in front of the smoker stand. Dragicevic does reasonably well because the Eagles had got back Scotty Cummings in support of Chad Morrison, but the boundary umpire will throw it in. McKee doing the ruck work. His immediate opponent is Donnelly. McKee takes it out of the air and then forces it forward into the path of Campbell. Campbell does well. Bit of a floating mongrel punt kick to half forward, well marked by Bellotti. Between right half back and centre half back. Goes wide to Metropolis. Metropolis, good kick at the feet there of Banfield. He made good ground, marked safely. Kicks it high.
Oh, that hurt. That hurt.
I think it was 50.
Is that 50 metres?
Yeah,
I think it is. Was that just because it was completely unnecessary?
Well, not so much unnecessary, Robbo, but the marking contest is over, and the umpires are told that if the marking contest is over and he takes the play to the ground, as was done to Andrew Donnelly then it causes a delay in play, and the delay in play is what results in the 50. And I suppose in a word, yes, unnecessary, but the reason it's paid is it causes a delay in play.
Well, while all this was happening, Brendan Gale has come off the bench at the expense of Andrew Callaway, but we're watching Andrew Donnelly prepare in his shot for goal. Yet to kick a goal in this game, but importantly for the West Coast Eagles, they lead right now by 4 points. Andrew Donnelly to maybe stretch it to 10. We're past the halfway mark of the third quarter. Richmond have kicked the only 2 goals of the quarter, but Andrew Donnelly has answered for the Eagles.
Good reward to Andrew Donnelly for, he knew he was going to get contact. I mean, when you're back into a contest like that, the ball sat up a little bit. I know Brendan Feast was trying to get in between McKee and Donnelly to protect his back. He couldn't do it. And McKee, look, the 50 metres had to come because the contest was complete. The mark had been taken. I'll tell you what, that's a solid bump to get low in the kidneys too, in the middle of the back. Finished it off well, Donnelly. Good reward, and he's played a pretty good game to date.
It would have hurt, but he steadied the ship. That's the shot from the Goodyear blimp. 8-3 to 9-7. So the Eagles back to a 10-point margin. Now the next goal should tell some sort of a tale. Will the Eagles go away again? That will kick in danger. Now paid to Broderick. Yeah. He'll come back.
A few frustrated players running around there now.
Good effort by Broderick.
Probing kick. Holland worked underneath. At the back, Bellotti. Metropolis, and a ball up at centre half forward for the Tigers.
Yeah, John, might be frustrated because things are getting quite tight on the ground down here at the moment, and that mark of Donnelly was a sensation. You hear the thump from the boundary line.
Dipper down there, who wasn't too far away from all of that. Bellotti stretches, unopposed, but Campbell runs into the path of it. Kellaway on his wrong side, tackled by a couple. Braun chases hard, chasing him now is Rogers. Like to see Rogers in the forward line. Handball missed at mark. Sampson, good kick, gives Richo the charge. He's got it. Great mark. Well-weighted kick coming in from Sampson.
He has been quiet, Sampson. I think it was mentioned either by yourself, Bruce, or Jason, that David Werpunda has been terrific, but Sampson has kicked a goal in this third term and also gave a hand pass off in the second quarter, which resulted in a goal. And now this pass to Matthew Richardson may give the Tigers their 9th.
Yes, he released Richardson early in this match for a goal. This is a huge kick. Absolutely top-class footballers in this situation. Kicks, goals, and he's done it. He is growing in stature, this young man. They needed that one, and he delivered.
Well, I mean, 3 goals today. He's got a very tough opponent in Ashley McIntosh, and it looked like he was going to get on top by running him around early, but I think the supply dried up in the second quarter. That's a tremendous mark. I mean, the ball being chipped in. He had Chad Morrison coming across the front trying to spoil. McIntosh hanging on to him around the waist. Took it at the second grab and kicked a team-lifting goal.
Daffy now playing back pocket on Philip Reid.
Well, that's interesting. One of the playmakers early in the game, Nick Daffy. We spoke about the passion of the Tiger. By gee, you can see it on the face of the Tiger fan as Matthew Richardson converted. There's some tremendous determination from Campbell. He's going to get another chance, and he's going to kick it forward. It falls short. Rogers couldn't quite take it. He's got another chance to clear the congestion. Guy McKenna's not allowing him to do just that. And the umpire will ball it up about 45, maybe a little closer, 40 metres from the Richmond goal. They trail by 4 points. They've kicked 3 goals in this third quarter. The Eagles just 1. And certainly a chance here for Richmond. Their die-hard fans are packed in right in front of this contest. They'll be cheering the Tigers on here. Chance for Richmond once again. The kick coming from Broderick. High flyer was Richardson. Gathered there by Banfield off the side of his boot. He will find, maybe, no. Look at that ball, it just stayed in. That was impossible. Dragicevic to centre-half forward. Oh, you've done it again, Matthew. You are verging on superstardom.
What a mark. It looked like the ball was going to go out of bounds for certain, but the kick came back in. And when he's got a good run at it, can't he leap and take a spectacular mark? Dragicevic was fantastic. He didn't go short. He looked long into the centre corridor. And Richo, using his teammate as a step ladder, he is causing problems now. Ashley McIntosh nowhere to be seen.
The blood rule here from Richo.
Well, what happens here, John? He just can't take his kick.
He can't take his kick, and the reason being, Robbo, nobody, once we say he can take his kick, he may play on, and if he plays on, then he's in the game again. So he has to come off, and the nearest teammate has to take the ball.
Well, somebody else is bleeding, and he's got blood on his jumper.
And that is the most annoying thing for a forward. You've got the ball, you're lighting up goals, and you have it taken away.
But importantly, are the umpires aware of who the player is closest?
It's a tough skill, Rob. I must admit, I was often thinking, who the heck takes it now? You know, it's a position that
Just to clarify, is he bleeding, Dipper? Is Richardson bleeding himself?
I'll just go and find out.
Well, he must be, surely.
Bruce, he did wipe his face with his jumper, so if there is blood down the front of his jumper, I did see him wipe his face with his jumper, so blood on the jumper may possibly be his.
Don't mind the ball in this guy's hands either.
And Robbo, you know what coaches do. They tell the best kick to run towards him.
Matthew Rogers, after Matthew Richardson may have taken the Cadbury mark of the night, Rogers goes for goal. And there's another mark. Bowden's marked that in the field of play, hasn't he?
It's a point.
No. Oh, gee, I'd like to have another look at that.
The goal umpire didn't hesitate, Robbo. Once he steps up to the line like that, he's expecting an all clear from the field umpire. We see this fantastic shot from the side.
Yeah.
He knows it's over. He stands on the line and looks at the field umpire and says, please give me an all clear.
Well, Richardson was bleeding, boys, just a blood nose.
We had the chance to look at the replay, and that certainly confirmed the umpire's decision. Powell on centre wing, Kent, still a contest, Dragicevic, and the umpire surely. Michael Braun getting to his feet. The umpire will bounce just forward of centre wing, favouring the Tiger.
The crowd's getting right into it. They feel that the Tigers have been hard done by with a lot of these decisions. The umpire's really letting it go.
Well, Powell would have been paid 14 weeks in a row for a free kick.
That's exactly right. He might have overplayed it a bit, Bruce, but he certainly deserved a free kick on what we've seen up until this week.
But both teams are in the same boat. I don't think there's been one way or the other, but it's just that the umpires have changed their interpretation from round 14 to 15. Braun probably cocked it high, though Campbell kept it in to his credit. Ball up. 58 plays 61.
Bruce, they're working overtime on Matthew Richardson. He's got a slightly blood nose, and they're just filling up with cotton wool. And he should be back on the ground very shortly.
Free kicks 8 apiece.
8 apiece, and we're well into the third quarter. So
just 16 free kicks, John.
Yep.
What's a normal mark for this stage of the match?
Oh,
make it up if you don't know.
30-odd, 25.
To Knights, who has played a very good third term. Kicks it hard and high. There's no Richo there for the moment. Belted away by Jakovic. Gee, Sampson threw it. He threw it.
Bruce, it's difficult to say, but we didn't have any free kicks for the first 10 minutes of the game. Then we had 5 before the end of the first quarter. 5 or 6 before the end of the first quarter. There's a lot happening.
Jakovic and Holland. Oh, hey, look out.
Oh, McKenna, Gale's taking a good one. Getting back. Gee, this is a great game of footy. 9-4 to 9-7. You can't beat Friday nights at the MCG. The kick back, Bellotti stretch. Wapunda couldn't take it. Bowden, clever, brilliantly done. Rogers to put him in front. It bounces the wrong way. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? 59 to 61. Rogers has missed 2. Richardson's all patched up. Bowden comes off. Richo comes back. Rogers has kicked 1 goal 3.
Which I know it's the heat of the moment, Jason, but just when Brendan Gale had the ball, Matthew Richardson standing on the boundary line, he could have maybe held the ball up a little momentarily. No one to kick to down there while Matthew Richardson's off the ground.
No, that's right, although he would have had to wait and see who was coming off and how far he would have had to run and how long he had to hold on to it.
Fair enough. Metropolis kicks the ball out wide. Gasper, who's been quite desperate, and his endeavours have been enormous. Mitchell White, Matthew Knights leading from the front. Handball Richardson, back to Knights, lift the tiger Matthew, left foot kick into the pocket's pretty good, and ground level, Brad Ottens has been paid the mark.
Looks like a half volley. We are a long way away, but
careful.
Now, I mean, these are the situations that somebody just has to stand up and take control, because we saw Ben Holland and Glenn Jakovic getting frustrated. We've seen Richo getting frustrated, and it seems to be happening all over the place.
Into the pocket, Richardson and McIntosh. Clears both those players and bounces over for a boundary throw-in. And the young ladies are excited as well. Tiger supporters, they're here in their droves tonight. Brad Ottens does the ruck work, falls to McKenna. McKenna close to the line, out of the reach there of Wayne Campbell, who has been a tremendous midfield leader for Richmond tonight. Their bench presently dipped.
Robbo, we've got... sorry, mate, I'll get back to you in a moment.
Go on, yeah, we're looking at the
West
Eagles,
Coast,
I think. The Eagles bench. It looks like Jones, Fletcher, Fuster. Couldn't quite gather the fourth name. Ottens, left foot kick to full forward. Punched away by Jakovic. McIntosh and Richardson. Back goes Jakovic. His ability to combine with Wapunda. His kick. Very good.
Oh.
Ball. This is
Oh, has to
Natira.
be.
Well, it probably advantaged the Eagles in the finish because the ball has gone all the way down the ground, punched away from Cummings by James. Donnelly, now Mitchell White. White kicks the ball back towards half forward. Oh, good stretch and mark taken by James over the top of Banfield.
Goes out wide, Tigers with a chance. Campbell, who's had about 23 kicks, to Daffy's a wonderful kick. Daffy's away, Braun chases hard. Daffy to half forward, Richo, Holland, well done at the back by Bellotti. Jakovic, play on court. Can't believe that they're not paying some free kicks here. Daffy,
Richo is clear.
Kicked over the goal square. Ottens is there. Wapunda. It's a behind.
Look at Matthew Richardson. He was all on his own, 30 metres out directly in front, and he actually remonstrated with Nick Daffy after the kick went over. He said he can't believe it. He is spewing.
Well, all I can say is that Peter Schwab and Rowan Saws are making a rod for their back, because what we're seeing here tonight, if we see it for the rest of the year, there's going to be a lot of confused people.
They have dead set banned the whistle tonight.
It's got to come from Rowan, and it's got to come from Peter. No one else. The kick from McKenna out wide. Campbell, back to Daffy. High ball, not a good kick. Know where he is going. Rogers, main wearing. Knights has played a wonderful third quarter. Slaps it forward. Boundary throw in.
So you talk about third quarters. Matthew Knights has played well, but Wayne Campbell has had over a dozen possessions this quarter. He's also had 3 or 4 crucial centre line clearances, getting it out of the middle. He has been unbelievable.
Tigers in attack. They've had a lot of it. They haven't put the score on the board. Matera deep. Kicks the ball back into the centre. Tigers should mark. Powell's got it. He's been pretty good. Onto his left foot. The target is Holland and Richardson.
Free kick against Richard.
That's a free kick.
And Bruce, on many of those marking contests tonight, Ashley McIntosh has just done enough to make sure Richo can't contest the mark. On this occasion, we see in replay, he does that little bit more, but he's been doing varying degrees of that on many occasions tonight. We see him just making it look as though he's trying to spoil, but really focused on getting Matthew Richardson away from being able to contest that mark.
This to put the Tigers in front for the first time since late in the second quarter. 12 minutes in fact. Richardson going for his fourth at 50. It's a great kick. He has drilled it. The big man stands really tall now.
And Bruce, the thing that raises is if Matthew Richardson had taken the kick that Rogers took, he was closer, he was on a less acute angle, yet Rogers missed. And Matthew Richardson has kicked it from a further probably 10 metres out and on a far more difficult angle.
Fair point, John. Fair point. You have to go off because of the blood rule.
To the other problem, 9 times out of 10, that has not been paid tonight.
So that is right. I've seen it many times, Bruce, where it might not have been quite so blatant, but certainly the same action by McIntosh has resulted in Matthew Richardson being unable to contest the mark. And if you pay one, I know we all make mistakes, and I made lots of them. You've got to pay them all.
Well, Richmond back in front, 10-6 to 9-7, and ball held from behind by Ottens. Spills out to Campbell. Gee, gets it onto his boot so beautifully and so quickly. McKenna, not bad either. Across his body, bounces beautifully for Philip Matera. His kick to half forward. In front was Andrew Donnelly.
Is that not in the back?
And that's been allowed to be called as play on.
Now, the umpire is trying to determine whether, in fact, Andrew Kellaway was attempting to spoil or just spoiling the player. It certainly looked as though he was spoiling the player on that occasion. I'm
loving this. Keep it up. I reckon it's a good contest. Physical. The fans, they'll never lose interest while this is happening. Campbell, close to the boundary line. Squeezes the kick again. Holland and Jakovic. The ball's in there somewhere. Werpunda. He can't break away. Over the top, Proctor. And the fans clapping because the contest, the physical contest, has been very interesting for most of the night. Richmond lead by 5 points with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. And you would think that if the boys can stand up, it'll be a close finish again. Maybe the third time in a row Friday night football may get down to just one kick between the teams. At the back, it's a mark. And Duncan Kellaway. He stood firm, he stood tall, and he kept his eyes right on the ball.
Yeah, Ronald, we're not in the best position to adjudicate on this, but again, it did look a little bit as though Duncan Kellaway actually pushes Dean Kemp out of the way, and then he decides to go for the mark.
That's right. He's just holding him. He's just holding him underneath the ball.
It's not
no problems there.
Not as subtle as you used to do it, Jason.
Well, Duncan Kellaway kicks the goal.
Well, I don't know how many times Duncan Kellaway's found himself in that position, taking marks down in the goal square, but always pretty happy to kick a goal. He's only got a half a dozen in his career. That's number 6. That is, well, they're like gold when you haven't kicked that many. Look at that, taking a mark over his head and finishing off, playing like a full forward and doing it beautifully.
Five goals to Kellaway this year, 6 in his career. This is a terrific quarter. All those terrible things I said about Richmond before half-time, well, let's see. Campbell, what a term he's played. Matera's little toe poke. Now the Eagles are really being challenged, aren't they? Dragicevic around the corner. The marking power of Richmond has worried the Eagles up forward with Holland and also Richardson. They haven't had a lot of big marks, but just their presence. Braun, Hamble to Kemp. Kept his eye on it. Strolls through. Ottens fills the hole. Cummings late. Gets rid of Ottens. James at the back. Ottens. He's got time. I reckon Knights has played a wonderful third quarter. Gets it to James. Should kick it to Funky. Funky should get it on to Broderick. But he goes back. Campbell again, streaming through. Has played a third quarter for the ages. Bad kick though. Bad kick. Metropolis, who when the heat was on early was good, gives it to McIntosh. Out wide to Bellotti. It's 5-4 to 1-1 in this quarter. Bellotti in the half-back flank. A little one. The Eagles, can they squeeze a goal before three-quarter time? There's less than a minute. Ball's kicked down the line. White's had his colours lowered. Jones just pushes it in the path of Knights on the up. To Ottens. Bangs it badly. Straight back. And Metropolis for the second time in about a half a minute. Fills the hole. 72 plays 61.
It's Jakovic and Holland still at it.
Jakovic kicks it hard and high. Well done by Bull. Jones, terrific tackle at the back, but he gets a handball to space to half forward. Powell's little look-away handball was good to Funky. The siren sounds. The Tigers will cheer their team into the three-quarter time huddle. Look at that. Jakovic unhappy. Holland. Richo coming in.
Glenn Jakovic and Ben Holland literally asking the umpire to take control of that contest, but seemingly there won't be that shown by the umpire. After that quarter ended, the umpire actually blew his whistle at the opposite end of the ground, so there are a few people that are very, very aroused out there, possibly over-aroused.
Well, we said the stakes were high for the Tigers tonight. They were playing for their season. And they've responded. They're not home by a long stretch. It has been the scoring end for one way or another, the left-hand screen. Look at Richo. They've got to patch that nose up. They're going to make sure that that doesn't bleed in the last quarter. They need him out there desperately. But the Tiger looked almost buried at half-time. Look at Jakovic. Look at him. Stirring them on. We have got a game in this last quarter. At three-quarter time, it's an 11-point lead to Richmond over the Eagles, 11-6 to 9-7. Welcome back to the Melbourne Cricket Ground. It's been a wonderful night. It's been a really exciting game. And at three-quarter time, Richmond have taken the lead, 11-6 to 9-7. The Eagles were magnificent in the second quarter. They dominated the Tigers, but the Tigers came back ferociously in that term. A lot of feeling out there at three-quarter time. A reminder about the official AFL website. There's a plethora of info to satisfy even the most fanatical footy supporters. And if you feel like an end-of-season trip to Bali, then check out the footy store and find out how you can win that. That's at Seven's home of footy on the web, afl.com.au. Well, Richardson is standing very tall here tonight. He's almost Carey-like in his performance. This was the terrific mark that he took from the Sampson kick-in. He goals from here, and then not too long after that, watch where he kicks the ball from. And then he takes another fantastic mark, and with the blood rule, can't take his kick.
Yeah, you just worry about whether that's going to break the momentum that the Tigers had. In the end, it didn't, but at the time, it very well could have. He took a spectacular mark. Now, he gets caught by the umpire having a little bit of blood and unable to take the kick. In the end, it's Matthew Rogers, and he misses. Very disappointed, like any good forward.
I tell you what, he was disappointed too with the disposal. Campbell played a huge third term, but Richo wasn't too happy with this. Have a look at this. Boy.
That's one thing as an opposition player you love to see. You love to see players going off at their own teammates. You know you've got them rattled. You know you can get in their heads because they're a bit temperamental.
Jakovic's eye looks like a heavyweight boxer, doesn't it?
Well, they've been going at it.
Yeah, Bruce, he had some stitches applied to that eye during that third quarter.
And at three-quarter time in the huddle, he spoke like a heavyweight boxer. He had a real dip at his teammates.
Gee, they can so quick.
Well, this is going to tell us a bit about the Tigers and the Eagles this last quarter. Kemp hard at Daffy, holds him up, ball up. 5 goals in the first quarter for the Tigers, 5 goals in the third quarter for the Tigers, 6 goals in the second quarter. So 16 of the 20 goals have been kicked to the left of screen. Dipper, there's nothing in the breeze though, is there?
There's no breeze whatsoever. There's a strong feeling down here for the Tiger supporters, I've got to tell you. And the bench is screaming out all the time. Very strong feeling down here.
Banfield pushes forward, kicks the ball to centre-half forward. Kellaway keeps his nut over the top. Material worries him. Kellaway, Braun pushing forward. Tigers hold up, still holding up. Play allowed to go on. It'll be a ball up. Dipper, what's your gut feeling down there? Who do you reckon?
I reckon the Tigers can take this one because they certainly have lifted. They've made about 10 changes in their third quarter, and the players who've come on have really made a big difference. And I'll give the benches what we've got them. Chaffee, Powell, McKee, Harrison, and Coast, Mainwaring, Fuster, Reid and Williams.
So Reid and Mainwaring both off. Mainwaring's had 19 possessions. You'd think he'd probably be a bit light on in terms of his preparation. Boughton picks himself up. Chris Mitchell, Justin Schmidt and Darren Goldsmith. They'll be full of run. They haven't had to blow so much tonight. Belted away by Gale. Quick kick by Funky. To space. Kemp gets it back. Winding himself up was Metropolis to fall forward. Keeping their eyes on it. Gale. Broderick. He got through. He did it beautifully. To Funky. He's under pressure. He's under pressure. Jones and Braun will try and worry him. Broderick butters up. A boundary throw in. I reckon Funky will take a deep breath and say, thank you very much.
Yes, it certainly brought some anxious looks, I'm sure, on the fans. But
just
because,
didn't come up at all, did it?
No, it was not obeying his wishes, I'm sure. The oval ball at right half back for the Tigers as they looked as though they were going to clear the danger zone. Broderick, his passion for his team has been tremendous. So has Wayne Campbell. He just hacked it forward once again. Contest. Oh, well done, Ottens. Go for goal, son. He releases Campbell. And Richmond get the first goal of the last quarter.
Well, that is just the perfect start for the Tigers. The fans are absolutely tearing the stadium apart. Wayne Campbell is clearly the best player on the ground. He is absolutely murdering them. But Brad Ottens, the way he attacked the ball, rode the bump from Jakovic and then got the handball off to Campbell, who'd run on after initially kicking the ball off the deck 40 metres further upfield. Look at the desperation in the eye. Fended off.
It's a big play, isn't it, by Ottens?
Oh, magnificent.
The heavyweight champ hit the deck for a moment, didn't he? He'll come back though, Jakovic. Gee, the Tigers got the important first one. Banfield out of the centre, runs hard, kicks hard to half forward. Funky got a hand on it. Cummings goes to White. He's normally a terrific kick. White just misses. It's a behind. So cool. White under pressure. There's the bench. Mainwaring chafing at the bit. Look at him. Wanting to get out there.
He's trying to keep warm, I think, Bruce.
I'm just making it up, Dipper.
Oh, thank you.
Bowden's kick to Kellaway. 12-6 to 9-8. Well, I reckon if the bookies were betting now, for the first time, the Tigers would probably be favourite tonight, and that includes early, because you knew the West Coast would come back. Right now, the Tigers would probably be in front. West Coast will probably need a 6-goal quarter to win from here.
So yeah, they've only kicked 9 for the game. They just haven't looked like kicking really big scores, West Coast.
They got 6 in the second quarter going to the left, to the punt road end. Daffy pushes forward. Rogers pushed in the back. Daffy butters up on his left foot. Brings it back in the direction of Ottens. Proctor's there with McKenna. Ottens, his adrenaline would be flowing. Little handball out. Off the ground. It's got by Rogers. Richo, will it sit? He's kicked 4. Richo has kicked 5. The Tigers steal away. Rogers, you little beauty. What about that?
Well, you don't want to say it with 15 or 20 minutes left in the game, but the Tigers are home, surely. They have all the momentum. They burst out of the blocks early. West Coast came back, looked like they'd take charge. Just to kick off the ground from Rogers. All Richardson had to do was wait for the ball to sit up. He did that. Rapunda making ground quickly, couldn't apply the smother. Go the Tigers.
Gee, another smart kick, wasn't it, Matthew Richardson? He was under a bit of pressure. David Rapunda was very close to smothering that kick off the boot, but Matthew Richardson converted and kicked his 5th. Now the Eagles need 4. And they've got to hold Richmond goalless if the Eagles are to win this game. Duncan Callaway, Matthew Knights goes for the safety of the boundary line and finds it. 22 points the advantage for the Tigers, remembering that they trailed by 16 points at half-time.
Robert, they kicked 7 of the last 8, the Tigers.
And there's the man who's been the architect, Wayne Campbell, number 9. He has been quite magnificent. Broderick has been pretty good too since coming off the bench, and Richardson has marked. Now, if there's any Richmond fan out there watching this game on TV and you want to bag this bloke, well, come and talk to me, because I reckon he's an absolute superstar. His stats tonight haven't been unbelievable, but by gee, doesn't he give them something to kick to. He's kicked 5.
This will bring the roof down if he kicks this.
He goes back and he kicks it, and he kicks a goal. 6 goals, great effort. He's worth every cent you want to pay. Don't worry about that. He's still a young man. The Tigers lead 90 to 62.
And when the game had to be won, when Richmond needed someone to stand up, take a mark and kick a goal, Matthew Richardson has done it. He's done it 2 or 3 times now in the last 20 or 30 minutes. And his conversion rate tonight has been exemplary. 6 goals won. Every reason to celebrate.
Well, it's the 20th time these two teams have played one another. He's the first Tiger to ever kick 6 goals against the Eagles. It's the first time any Richmond players ever kicked a half a dozen against the West Coast Eagles. So he's broken a little record tonight, and he might have broken the back of West Coast. Rintoul kicks at the centre half forward. Oh, huge fly at the back coming from Gale. And the Tigers are full of running. Callaway's handball to Daffy, to Knights. They're celebrating here. Knights measures to kick the half forward. Good mark ball. Need a goal in a hurry. McKenna must think it's deja vu, remembering his 200th. Kicks it out wide. Finds Metropolis. He's got some space. They've got to get a goal out of this. Kicks to Cummings. Gives James a little push. Right forward pocket. Boundary throwing.
And at the moment, the West Coast Eagles just don't look capable of kicking enough goals to bridge the gap, let alone win the game. They look slow. Richmond seem to have all the run. Their run out of the back line has been unbelievable, and they seem to have loose players everywhere.
Mainwaring about to come on for the Eagles.
It's been a magnificent second half by the Tigers. Gale, Bellotti, Funky's handball to Broderick, boundary throwing. Gee, Richardson, he's grown, hasn't he? I mean, there's Carey still, and then there's a little gap maybe, but he's filling that gap.
We've seen some games this year where he needed to stand up to win the game, and he couldn't quite do it, but it looks like he has done it tonight.
Gale and Bellotti. Gale takes it out of the air. Broderick has been very good. Callaway, Daffy, Adeneri, Metropolis with a good hip and shoulder. Braun and Callaway, boundary throwing. 8 goals for to 1-2 since half-time. Braun a little wounded and injured as he struggles back. He'll run that out if he can. Daffy just gives him one to go on with it. They're going in for the kill now, Richmond. Gale to White, hooks it back to centre half forward.
Good mark.
Clever.
Just the way that he used his body to jockey for position, get himself in the correct position so that when the ball came down, he was directly underneath it. Just worked him underneath, and a very good 1-grab mark. Johnny Russo, don't even look at me like that was a push-out. That was a clear, clean, fair mark.
Any chance they have, he's got to kick it. Kemp's got the goal. Well, they're not dead. They're certainly not buried. Kemp gives them a little hope.
Do you remember what happened last Friday night? It took Collingwood 40 minutes to kick a goal, and they got within a point.
They kicked the last 4 goals of the match.
This modern game of Australian football, 4 goals is not insurmountable.
And the reward for Dean Kemp after kicking the goal, a spot on the bench. Robbo, Chris Mainwaring coming on to take his place.
Well, a pretty good crowd here at the cricket ground for Friday night football. The Tiger versus the Eagle. 32,500 fans. Obviously, the greater majority are supporting the Tigers. Main wearing into the action already and then forces a tackle. Morrison tries to clear, but Daffy succeeds in doing so. The ball at half forward, McKenna. Gee, loves to mop up.
Brilliant.
And he's so efficient. Philip Reid takes the hand pass, punched away. Disciplined play by Holland, I think it was. Chance for Reid once again, confronted by Rogers. It was Brendan Gale who effected that big punch on centre wing, and it certainly was emphatic.
It's the second spoil like that he's committed himself to, Robbo, so he's doing a great job in defence.
Poor play earlier from Laurie Bellotti. Philip Reid should have been called back into the contest. He could have protected his back to take that mark.
And a bit of passion and just fire in the belly from the Richmond fans. You saw there, coming down to the boundary line, Holland and Djakovic. Djakovic might be rewarded. No, the umpire again allows the players at the ground level with the footy to contest. And on this occasion has to bounce about 25 metres from the Richmond goal. Not to be intimidated, young Ben Holland just off to the right there. Glenn Djakovic, much more experienced in age and games played. Morrison back to the centre. Daffy quickly onto the left foot. Not really all that effective, that kick. Braun, big punch by Dragicevic. Goes back to Djakovic. Well, that's not bad because he's just kicked it blindly. So the Tigers' intensity has caused a turnover on centre wing. Gaspar kicks towards centre half forward. Djakovic again, and he's forced to kick quickly and blindly. Back towards the centre of the ground. Gaspar couldn't take the mark. At ground level, the football has been cleared. Bowden, back to Daffy. Daffy in the centre. Looks, delivers wide. Oh, brave Guy McKenna. No mark. Matthew Richardson, still McKenna in the action. Punches it away from Matthew Knights. When Matthew Knights might have been like the cat that was about to get the milk or the cream, it's knocked over for a boundary throw.
Wasn't Guy McKenna's first one a mark?
Guy McKenna is a champion.
John, surely the first one was a mark.
You think he was controlling it as it was knocked out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rogers, Braun got a high one. He must get a free kick. He does at half-back. Important the last 3 minutes, I reckon, Jason. 4 minutes that the Tigers have made contest to absorb time here.
Yep.
They're eating up the clock a bit, aren't they? They've not let the West Coast get clean possessions. Boundary throwing. Well done, Proctor. And now the clock is going to be hard for the West Coast. There's still enough time at the moment, but every couple of minutes, the deliberate rule's pretty interesting, isn't it? The interpretation. It would have been cruel there. Ottens, Broderick liked his game since coming off the bench. Morrison, high tackle, not paid. Surely.
I think he may have been unsighted, to be fair, Bruce. I just think that there were players obstructing his view of that contact with the head, so I'd hate to see the umpire's guess. So if he was unsighted, I'm glad that he didn't pay it.
I thought he caught one in the head first there.
Yeah, that certainly did.
We missed the first one before that anyway. It's a ball up. They've been consistent. You've got to give them that. Ottens, except maybe for a Richo one. Kicked by Morrison. The main wearing. Gale, well done. And a courageous mark by Rogers. That was gutsy. The ball was just to his left-hand side. He had to come back. Reid was in hard. He's uncompromising, Reid.
And that's where players are professional, Bruce. I mean, in my opinion, Reid knew he was going to be momentarily late, but still didn't pull out of the contest. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I know players have to commit themselves to the contest, but all we have to be aware of is that sort of stuff can really hurt a player.
And the Richmond players came in and remonstrated after the mark. That's the wrong time to do it.
Yep.
You've got a teammate about to have a shot for goal. Don't do anything silly that might jeopardise that kick.
Rogers to finish off the Eagles. You'd think he's kicked one free tonight. 55 metres out. It's close. It's a goal. They're home, I reckon, now. That is a huge kick. Big goal.
played a very good game, Matthew Rogers. Missed a couple of opportunities to kick goals early, but he's now kicked a couple. Knew the contest was coming. He was prepared to keep his eye on the ball, pop the bump after it came, and wasn't it worthwhile?
Yeah, and I suppose what I'm saying is Rogers' arm was probably dangerously sort of raised, and Rogers was going to take the mark. So they're the situations that become pretty hard to adjudicate.
15-6 plays 10-8. 28 points in favour of Richmond, and they'll go forward again. Broderick, that vision was fantastic to Campbell. Campbell to full forward. Where are the crummers? Sampson to run onto McKenna, and that's good defensive work by the forward to at least maintain the pressure.
Richo's hurt in the... sorry, Rob.
Sorry, go, Dip.
Richardson is limping in the goal square, so keep an eye when he's leading. There he is.
Yes, he is too. Thanks, Dipper, for that. Brad Otten's doing the ruck work. Tries to get it down in the area of Rogers.
That's got to be a push.
Chance for Proctor. Hand pass missed its target by a big margin. Philip Matera for Main Waring. Knights to apply the pressure. Bowden dispossessed by Williams. Main Waring forces it forward. There's going to be a free kick.
Yeah, paid for high contact on Chris Main Waring, and advantage won't be allowed because most of the players had in fact stopped.
Main Waring, who spent a fair bit of this term on the bench. Short pass to McKenna. McKenna in towards half forward. Andrew Callaway on Rintoul. Dragicevic tries to get it clear. Banfield tackled, still got the ball. Umpire allows play to go on, and still to award a free kick. Richardson, we saw, or we heard from Dipper, was favouring a leg, and it may have come from this contest. Just may have jarred his ankle there. Glenn Jakovic over the top in that contest. Brendan Gale, Dragicevic, left foot kick across his body. It'll bounce in front of Nick Daffy and eventually away from that player, over for a boundary throw-in, slightly forward of centre wing.
He's actually just clasping at his knee every time he has a bit of a run, so I think he just charged his knee right there. Just see on the screen there.
Dipper, yeah. So the Eagles slightly in attack. Dragicevic read it pretty well. Handball by Williams to some space with Braun, and another boundary throw-in. There's Richardson, who's had a huge match. 6 goals on McIntosh is a hell of an effort. I think that's what Lockett was looking for, wasn't he, Plugger? 6.
Worth 10 on anyone else, Bruce.
Yep. He really set him up early to run him around. McIntosh had a terrific second quarter, but Richo's taken the honours. The kick to half forward, Jakovic and Holland. That's also been a spirited duel, a boundary throw-in. Jason Ball on camera. An early goal for him. Ottens, whose big play early in this quarter was so important. In front of Bellotti. Bellotti works around, Ottens lays it down. Philip Matera, ball comes out. Bluey McKenna stuck his bottom out, was looking maybe for a free kick. And again a ball up just inside Richmond's 50. Wrong end of the ground from the Eagles' point of view. Richardson with his 6 goals against McIntosh. Ottens, Bellotti gets over him. Reid had it taken away from him. Broderick's handball was good. Daffy slung a bit high. Knight's waiting for it. Campbell gets it to him. Knights just pops it up. Wants a mark. Holland. Wapunda gets back. Haven't seen a lot of him since half-time. Boundary throw-in.
And Bruce, you know the effort required for West Coast to get back in the game. An incredible statistic. Not one West Coast player has had more than 2 kicks in this quarter, and it's been going for nearly 20 minutes now. Richmond
inside there, forward 50 on 10 occasions in this quarter, and the Eagles only 4. Now the umpires found a free kick here. It was kicked forward by the look of it, maybe Brad Ottens, and the free kick to Bellotti. Gave the hand pass away instead to Jakovic. Jakovic to McKenna. Important touch on the ball came from Dragicevic, I feel. Now the ball on centre wing where there's a contest. Spills out to Banfield. Banfield goes down the ground, and Cummings, good mark in front of his face, put his big butt out, which made it difficult for his opponent to get anywhere near the football, and Cummings has marked within scoring range.
That's a very good mark from Scotty Cummings, because you can see a couple of Richmond players just in front of the contest. The tendency there is to take the ball on the mark and try and protect on the chest and protect yourself, but he took it cleanly in the hands.
Well, he's kicked 3 goals and is without doubt the Eagles' leading goal kicker in this game. He goes for goal and he has missed by the look of it. Gee, they could have done with a goal there, the Eagles. We've got 7 minutes left. It's not ridiculous, but a goal there would have put it within 4 goals, and instead it is still a very healthy margin in favour of the Tigers, exactly 27 points.
Bowden, that comes down to Morrison, hooks it back, that is a goal. Morrison gets a goal. His second. Well, I guess there's only a 30-second difference from what Robbo was talking about.
You wouldn't drop your guard if you were a Richmond player, I wouldn't think.
Very similar to last week, there was a margin like this between Port Adelaide and Collingwood. And before we knew it, with 20 seconds left in the match, Collingwood were 1 point down with a chance of stealing the game. So it's not without possibilities, this match, although you would seriously doubt it. It took something spectacular. Very good finish.
Clever goal by Morrison. 15-6 to 11-9. It's still a big lead, but who knows? Remember, those late goals by Collingwood last week, but Richmond have had the answers in the second half. Banfield goes forward. Kellaway, good mark. Terrific first quarter, didn't touch it in the second, kicked an important goal in the third, has had a good match. To his brother Andrew. Daffy. Little one to Dragicevic is good. Dragicevic at centre wing. Half off. Then goes back. Decides to kick it long. The target is Ottens. Fly at the back, Bellotti. Taken by Philip Matera. Back to McKenna. Well played. To Reid. Held up Kemp. Cut off by Broderick, who's been very good. Rintoul. Quick kick forward. Gasper, wonderful game. Had one of his best matches, I reckon. Gee whiz. That looked ordinary.
He has beaten Mitchell White hands down tonight.
Knights out wide to Duncan Kellaway. Kellaway measures his kick, but Philip Matera runs onto it and takes the mark. He's played pretty deep tonight, Matera. Jakovic in trouble a bit here. Matera low to the ground, a bounce, running from half back, going towards half forward. Gale, ball made it, takes the mark. Got to get a goal from attack here. That would really put some pressure on. Richmond need to hold it up here. Ball looking up forward. Still time. Over 5 minutes. Ball loads it up. Wants a Cummings mark perhaps. Front spot. James with him. Kemp trying to fashion something. Runs into Bowden. That would have hurt. Smother was terrific from Kellaway. Quick kick forward coming from Daffy. Back to centre wing. Mark taken by Banfield. Banfield's kick. Not good. Marked by Funky. And the Tigers are looking good.
21 points in favour of Richmond as Aaron James kicks it wide. Mark is taken by Proctor. Very well done from behind McKenna. Proctor in towards the centre. Broderick, experienced campaigner, gets around and then squeezes the kick. Well done, Holland. Standing tall. Goes to the square. Puts pressure on the Eagles. Richardson in front. Couldn't take the mark. Werpunda. Sampson, you're dropping the ball. Bounced it, tackled from behind. Sampson takes the free kick.
And you just wonder if there was any talk coming from his teammate. He had a teammate about 10 metres in front who surely must have told him he was, oh, there he's coming in from the side. But Clay Sampson, he has got a bit of toe, don't worry about that. David Rapunda's one of the quickest players out on the ground, and he ran him down, and that's no mean feat.
Well, Sampson
turned his night around a bit, this fella, hasn't he,
Sampson? I was just going to say, Bruce, he was very quiet, but he's given a goal away. He's kicked one, and he's kicked the ball to Matthew Richardson, who kicked the goal as well, and he's going for his second. Now, what's he done? He's kicked the behind. So the end result, not what Clay Sampson was looking for, but there's still 4 minutes left, and he can add to that goal tally if he keeps his head down and his backside up. McIntosh kicks in to centre half back. Marcus taken by Morrison.
Well, they need a goal a minute, the Eagles, and you just don't see how they could possibly do it.
Kicks it long into the heart of the centre square. Kemp gave his opponent the push, and it's going to be paid. Duncan Kellaway's had a very good night.
It is a subtle difference, but Dean Kemp did just do that little bit more to make sure that Duncan Kellaway couldn't contest it. So Duncan Kellaway certainly earned the free kick.
Seconds being eaten up here, importantly for the Tigers. Kicks the ball in Richardson's direction, couldn't take the mark. Campbell, handball inboard to Bowden, was wonderful. Bowden misses. Campbell's playing a wonderful match, isn't he? Terrific handball inside, Bowden running onto it. But the missed goal, but gee, there's just no way you can see the Eagles getting out. It's pretty critical of Richmond at half-time. Symptomatic of their form over a period of years, I felt, their first half, but they've answered all the critics in the second half. They've given themselves a chance in 1999. Rapunda's kick, Richo just shoves McIntosh out of the way. McIntosh gets the free kick. Plays on to Philip Matera.
His body language sometimes leaves a little bit to be desired, but gee, it's difficult to be critical of a very good player.
And Robbo very nearly gave away another one of those costly 50-metre penalties because he didn't give the ball back to the player with the free kick, and you know that's normally an automatic 50, but not paid.
23 points Richmond lead. Brendan Gale. Morrison over the football for the Eagles. The umpire will bounce. It's about 25 metres forward of centre wing, favouring the West Coast. You can see now time ticking away, and Guy McKenna's 250th game. It's not going to be the party that he was looking for. Still a close tussle though involving the West Coast Eagles. They haven't been smashed at any stage this year, and they're going to play this game right out. Philip Reed's kick to half forward. Big punch by Funky. Gathered here by Bowden. Hand pass away. Dragosevic. His kick towards full forward. No mark. Sampson. Told you a chance was going to come again.
Oh, he hasn't.
It was going to come, and you've converted.
Miracle goal.
He had his head down a moment ago, and all of a sudden it lands in your lap, and you've kicked two for the night.
That is an unbelievable goal. By the time he finally gets this on the boot, the ball punched away from the marking contest. That's where you have to be, in front of the contest. Look at the angle on the left boot. That is just an amazing finish, and he knew as soon as he kicked it. Look at the hands going up. Entitled to all that when you kick a goal like that one.
Didn't realise we've been sitting alongside Nostradamus all this time, did you? Well done, Robbo. This is the highest score anybody's kicked against the Eagles this year. Carlton was the only team before tonight to have kicked 15 goals against them, and Richmond have got 16, and right now it's the biggest losing margin for the year. So the Tigers have really done something tonight. Couple of minutes remaining. The Tigers are going to be in the 8 tonight. Whether they stay there on this weekend remains to be seen, but they're in the 8 tonight. They've given themselves a chance. Mainwaring's high ball. Kellaway and Kemp. Good mark. That typifies the spirit of Richmond tonight. Kicks the ball out wide and finds Andrew Kellaway. It has been a convincing performance. Gale running hard. A wobbly old kick inside. Ricochets off Banfield. Booted away by Ball. To space. Bowden again getting in hard. Good contest by Williams. Play on call. Ball up. Well, the Eagles have had their colours lowered. Bowden coming in hard.
Cadbury contender, Bruce.
Another one.
A great leap, wasn't it, by Joel Bowden?
We've had 3 or 4 of them tonight. Ball comes loose. Duncan Kellaway to Andrew Kellaway. Daffy to Broderick. Bounces the footy. Has a second go. Goes back to Ben Holland.
Holland just stretching now. Kick.
It's been touched, Robert.
Touched. Oh, leap of mark!
What a tragedy.
Brad Otten's not paid because it was touched off the boot. By gee whiz, that was a fantastic effort too.
Sorry for interrupting you, Robbo, but I saw the umpire in control actually call it touched off the boot, so I was just concerned that, as did happen, Ottens takes the mark and not paid. So
Clean.
I don't think any of the fans saw it either, did they?
No,
By the sound of the boos.
No.
Brad Ottens doing the ruck work, down to Jakovic. Jakovic out wide. Dean Kemp and Duncan Callaway. Kemp just kicks it forward. Gaspar, just herald your night, because it's been a terrific victory tonight at the cricket ground. The Tiger over the Eagle. Not a big margin, but by gee, it just might stand some sort of authority on season 1999 for the Richmond Football Club. They looked down and out at half-time after they kicked the first 4 goals of the game. They trailed by 16 points at half-time, and they've won this game by 29 points and down on ground level Dipper.
Thanks very much, Robbo. Well, Wayne, a big test for the Tigers tonight, and they came through.
Yeah, it was always going to be a big test. They're obviously a great side. Started off pretty well, but our second quarter was very, very ordinary, so it was good to fight back in the second half.
You matched up well against the Eagles. I know before the game you're very confident about beating them.
I don't know about that, Tip, but no, over here we've done okay, but over there we haven't really beaten them, so probably the test will be if we have to play them over there, but no, it was good.
Well, disappointing game last week. I know that Jeff Geeshan let the players talk about it last week. Obviously the boys had a few words to say to each other.
Yeah, we did, but at half-time it wasn't looking too good. Our talk after last week's game wasn't doing much, but it was good that the boys come out and they showed a bit of heart, I reckon, in the second half. So.
And your form tonight is sensational. One of the best games you've played this year.
Yeah, no, it was good. It's good to get a few touches, Dip, especially with the win.
Good on you, mate. Off you go. Very happy Wayne Campbell, boys.
Good on you, Timber. Well, the Tigers have won 3 out of their last 4 now, and they've beaten West Coast in 4 of the last 6 matches they've played them. It was a bit of deja vu for Bluey McKenna. Well, Mickey Malthouse knows the Tiger as well as anyone, doesn't he?
You've got a feel for Guy McKenna. I mean, he played a very, very good game tonight. Didn't have too many teammates helping it out, unfortunately. He can hold his head high, but he's not going to remember his 200th nor his 250th too favourably, and it's going to be a long flight home. But the Tigers, well, they looked like they played their best in the first quarter. West Coast weathered the storm. All of a sudden they started to gain control of the match. It looked like they'd run away with it, and from who knows where, they got a second win, the Tigers, and they completely dominated the last quarter. When the game had to be won, the Tigers said, yep, this is it. This is our finals match tonight, and we're not going off this time with disappointed fans.
Really, the last half, I guess, Jason, they kicked 10 goals to 3 after half-time.
And you would have put everything you had on West Coast at half-time.
No doubt. They were home. Well, they can make it now. There's a long way to go, but they can make it. They're 7 and 8. Their percentage is in touch. It's a famous victory. Their champions stood tall. Their great midfielders were terrific. They've got a lot to build on. They'll sing this with a whole lot of heart, and I think a whole lot of optimism now for the rest of this season. Waiting for Campbell to join them after Dipper's interview.
It's going to go.
Appropriately, we look at Wayne Campbell. It takes all shapes and sizes to make a good footy team. We've seen it tonight again, 16-8 to 11-9. Exciting game here tonight, and Richmond with a 10-goal second half over the top of West Coast in the end, 16-8 to 11-9.
7 Sport hope you're enjoying this match as part of the 1999 Coca-Cola AFL Premiership season.
Jason, you wouldn't have picked it at half-time. I was very confident about the Eagles.
So was I. They looked in control, but we spoke about defence. Well, it was systematically dismantled by the Tigers tonight. They kicked the highest score against the Eagles, and in particular, I mean, that second half, that hasn't been their trait to run over a team like that, but they were fantastic, the effort that they used to come from behind.
10 goals to 3 after half-time. It was a very impressive performance. It sort of happened gradually, didn't it? That first goal took a long time after half-time.
It did. It was a little bit of I guess, a chess match for a while there, and when it finally did come, it just broke the shackles and it really gave them the confidence to go on with the job. I mean, it was a great finish from Matthew Rogers.
Campbell was unbelievable. We just saw him a moment ago, on that third quarter in particular.
It's the best game I've seen him play. I haven't seen too much of him, I must admit, but it wasn't just the easy possessions out the back or deep in defence. He got a lot of the hard ball out of the middle. He set it up. And we just see Clay Sampson there, who fought back well in the second half himself.
Great handball by Knights, who I think got much better after half-time. His options were cleaner and he made use of the footy all the way through the second half.
He did. I mean, they needed their good players to stand up, and that's exactly what they did. Daffy had a very quiet second or third quarter. I think it was second quarter. But he was good. Knights and Campbell. Richardson, well, he kicked 6 goals. I mean, that's a great performance under these conditions.
4 after half-time, which was a huge effort, and probably had a chance to kick another, but went off for the blood rule, didn't he?
This is a great piece of play, this. I mean, Campbell kicked the ball off the ground on the defensive side of the centre circle. He then ran on. Ottens, who did great work riding the bump, gave it back to Campbell, and he finishes off with the goal.
Right at the start of the last quarter too, that really set the Tigers up for this victory tonight. Thought Broderick really impacted, didn't you, when he came on?
He did. He was great around the packs. I mean, he's just another one of keeping the ball alive and pushing it forward. That's what they did all night, and their work rate was thoroughly rewarded.
Rogers actually hurled that kick back, didn't he, off the ground for Richo. And again, Broderick getting involved, just going forward. And, well, Richardson had this huge match. He kicked a goal from that mark.
Yeah, he mightn't have the zip that he used to have, Broderick, but he certainly knows how to dispose of the ball. That was a beautiful kick.
And Richardson kicked 6-1 tonight.
Well, that's different to what he's done the last few weeks. He's been kicking 6-6 and 6-5. 6-1 is a great result.
It's the fourth time this year he's kicked 6 goals in a match, so he's getting up there. They're the Mitsubishi Motors match stats.
Didn't the stats vary a bit tonight? It was all Richmond early, then it was all West Coast, and in the end, the main difference there is the handballs. 30-odd more handballs to the Tigers, and most of the other stats are pretty similar.
I reckon it was 35 to 25 inside 50 at half-time. Look at the difference now, 59 to 52. Well, Matthew Richardson is leading in the Channel 7 Player of the Year prior to this match. Did you squeeze him in? I reckon Campbell's got 3.
Well, Campbell definitely got 3. He was clearly the best on the ground, over 40 touches, kicked a goal. Matthew Richardson wasn't as dominant as we have seen him in the past, but to glean 6 goals from the efforts tonight was virtually a match-winning performance. And Guy McKenna, Bluey on his 250th, congratulations. You played a great game, you just didn't have enough teammates helping you out.
Well, I reckon Richo might be favourite for the Brownlow medal tonight, and certainly a favourite with the Tigers. We'll take a break, more to come after this.